Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
All right, so you sent us a ton of stuff about this December 27th Mega Millions drawing. So we're going on a deep dive together, see what we can uncover about this winning moment. We're talking searches, news snippets, you name it, it's here. And one thing is crystal clear. This wasn't just another lottery drawing. This one caught everyone's attention.
It's true. What's really interesting to me is it wasn't just about the numbers themselves, of course. There were the expected searches for winning numbers, and but there's a lot more here that speaks to a much deeper fascination.
Okay, so walk me through this. What else were people searching for?
Well, right off the bat, there were tons of searches about the location of the winning ticket. Where was the Mega Millions won was a big one. And then we see Cottonwood, CA and Shasta County popping up repeatedly. It's like people needed to place this massive event to ground it in a real location.
So we know the winning ticket was sold in Cottonwood, California. Got it. But why do you think that matters so much to people? It's not like they know the winner personally, right?
Right. But it taps into something very human. We're drawn to stories. And suddenly this abstract concept of winning the lottery has a face, a place, a small town, no less.
Yeah.
You can practically picture the celebrations, the rumors swirling around the local diner.
I see what you mean. It's like knowing the location adds a whole other layer of intrigue to the story.
Exactly. And that's just the beginning. There's another layer to this. And it has to do with the winner themselves.
Right.
Or should I say the lack of information about the winner.
Because they haven't come forward yet.
Right. And the search data reflects this. Who won the Mega Millions? What state won the Mega Millions? It's clear people want to know who this instant multimillionaire is.
It's interesting, though, because wouldn't you want to stay anonymous if you won that much money? I mean, think of all the attention, the requests for handouts.
That's a valid point. And actually, the data supports that, too. There were numerous searches about claiming the winnings, financial advisors, even legal advice related to lottery wins. Clearly, some people are thinking practically about the implications of such a windfall.
So it's not all champagne wishes and caviar dreams, huh?
Not quite. There's a definite undercurrent of anxiety mixed in with that excitement. And it goes beyond just managing the money. Think about what it means for your identity, your relationships, your whole world, really. When you become that Mega Millions winner.
It's almost like winning creates this new identity, this label that you have to wear whether you want to or not.
Exactly. And that can be a lot to process, especially when you factor in the intense public curiosity. Remember all those searches about the winner's identity? That's just a glimpse of the potential scrutiny this person is facing.
So while some people might be daydreaming about winning, it sounds like the reality can be a lot more complicated, even isolating.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another fascinating layer of this deep dive, the psychology of sudden wealth.
Okay, I'm listening. Take us deeper down the rabbit hole.
Well, think about it. What happens to our sense of self, our values, even our relationships? When we go from ordinary to extraordinary overnight, does money really buy happiness? Or does it just magnify the existing cracks in our lives?
That's a pretty heavy question.
It is. And the search data, while not giving us definitive answers, does offer some intriguing clues. For example, there were a number of searches related to stress management, therapy, even support groups for lottery winners.
So it's not all sunshine and roses. Even for those who hit the jackpot, there's a darker side to consider.
Exactly. And I think understanding that darker side, that undercurrent of anxiety and potential upheaval, is key to grasping the full impact of a lottery win, not just for the individual, but for their families, their communities.
And maybe even society as a whole.
Precisely. And that's where things get really fascinating. Because the ripple effects of this single event, this Mega Millions drawing, extend far beyond the individual winner.
Okay, I'm definitely intrigued now. Tell me more.
Well, let's shift. Well, imagine you're a lifelong resident of Cottonwood. You've built your life there, raised your family, contributed to the community, and suddenly, someone you might know, someone you see at the grocery store, the local diner, becomes a multimillionaire overnight.
I can see how that would be a lot to process. It kind of throws everyone's sense of normalcy out the window.
Exactly. And it can trigger all sorts of complicated emotions. Envy, resentment, maybe even a sense of inadequacy. Suddenly the playing field feels uneven, even if you're genuinely happy for the winner.
So while the lottery is often seen as this symbol of hope and opportunity, it can also expose the fault lines in a community, the underlying tensions that might have been simmering beneath the surface.
That's a really insightful way to put it.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the individual level either. Think about the town as a whole. What happens to the community's sense of identity when it becomes known as the town where that Mega Millions winner lives?
That's a good question. It's almost like the town itself becomes defined by this event, whether they want to be or not.
Exactly. And that can have long-term consequences. Will people start moving to Cottonwood, hoping to strike it rich themselves, even if the odds are astronomically against them? Will longtime residents feel like their town is changing too quickly, losing its character?
It's like a microcosm of the bigger conversation about the American dream, right? Is it about individual luck and fortune? Or is it about something more communal, something that's built over time through hard work and shared values?
That's a really interesting parallel. And I think it highlights the fact that this lottery win, while seemingly random, is actually tapping into some very deep-seated societal beliefs about success, opportunity, and what it means to make it in America.
So we've got this small town in California that's suddenly become a focal point for these bigger conversations about wealth, inequality, and the pursuit of happiness.
And remember, this isn't just a story about Cottonwood. It's a story that's playing out in communities all across the country. Every time someone wins big, the lottery, with all its contradictions and complexities, offers a unique lens through which to examine the human condition.
It's like holding a mirror up to society and seeing what's reflected back.
Exactly. And while we might not like everything we see, it's important to look closely, to examine the good and the bad, the hopes and the anxieties, because that's how we start to understand ourselves better.
Okay, so we've talked about the potential impact on the community, both positive and negative. But let's not forget, there's still a missing piece to this puzzle, the winner themselves.
Right, the person at the center of all this, the one whose life has been irrevocably changed, and yet we know almost nothing about them.
Which makes it all the more intriguing, right? Everyone loves a good mystery.
It's true. And the lack of information only fuels speculation. Who are they? What were they doing before they won? What are they going to do with all that money?
It's like a blank canvas
Yeah.
that people are projecting their own hopes and dreams onto.
Exactly. And that's where the psychology of anonymity gets really interesting, because it allows us to fill in the gaps, to create our own narratives about who this person might be and what their future holds.
We all love a good rags to riches story, don't we? It's almost like a modern-day fairy tale.
It is, and I think that's part of the reason why the lottery holds such a powerful grip on our imaginations. It represents the possibility of transformation, of escaping our ordinary lives and becoming something extraordinary.
But it's also important to remember that there's a real person behind this story, someone who's navigating a very complex and potentially overwhelming situation.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to respect their privacy, to allow them the space to make their own choices and figure out what this win means for them without the added pressure of public scrutiny.
So while we might be curious about their identity, maybe it's better to focus on the bigger questions that this event raises.
I agree, because ultimately this isn't just about one person winning the lottery. It's about understanding the forces that shape our lives, the interplay of chance and choice, and the ways in which we as individuals and as a society grapple with the complexities of wealth, happiness, and the elusive pursuit of the American dream.
And that brings us to another fascinating layer of this deep dive, the ethical considerations surrounding lotteries.
It's interesting, because on the surface, the lottery seems like a purely individualistic pursuit. You buy a ticket, you take a chance. And if you're lucky, you win. But the reality is far more nuanced.
I'm listening. What do you mean?
Well, consider this. Every dollar spent on a lottery ticket contributes to a larger system, a system that generates revenue for state governments, often earmarked for specific programs like education or infrastructure.
So it's not just about individual dreams of riches. It's also about collective responsibility, about how those funds are managed and distributed for the greater good.
Precisely. And that raises a whole host of ethical questions. Is it fair to rely on a system that preys on people's hopes and aspirations, especially those who may be struggling financially? Is it responsible to encourage a form of gambling that, statistically speaking, has very slim chances of success?
Those are tough questions, and I imagine there's no easy answer.
That's right. And it gets even more complicated when you factor in the psychological effects. Think about the constant bombardment of advertising, the media frenzy surrounding big jackpots, the stories of overnight millionaires. It creates a very seductive narrative, one that can be hard to resist, even if you know the odds are stacked against you.
It's like this cultural obsession with winning, this belief that success is just a lucky breakaway.
Exactly. And that can be a dangerous mindset, especially if it leads people to make risky financial decisions or to devalue the importance of hard work and perseverance.
So while the lottery might seem like a harmless form of entertainment, it's actually intertwined with some very complex ethical and societal issues.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to be aware of these complexities, to have an open and honest conversation about the potential benefits and drawbacks of lotteries, both for individuals and for society as a whole.
Because ultimately it's about finding a balance, right, between allowing people to dream and protecting them from exploitation, between generating revenue for important programs and ensuring that those programs are truly benefiting the people they're intended to serve.
That's a great way to put it. And I think this deep dive, with all its twists and turns, has really highlighted the importance of critical thinking, of looking beyond the surface and asking those tough questions.
Because even in a world of algorithms and instant gratification, it's crucial to remember that real life is rarely a game of chance. It's a complex tapestry of choices, circumstances, and consequences. And it's up to each of us to navigate it with awareness, empathy, and a healthy dose of skepticism.
Well said. And I think that's a fitting note to end on.
I agree. So to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of mega millions, small towns, and the complexities of human behavior. We hope you've enjoyed the journey and that you'll continue to explore these fascinating themes long after this deep dive ends.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.